Well, many thanks for staying with us, and we are switching gear right now over to education. We just spoke to health, now we're talking education. Well, with the proliferation of private schools across Nigeria, one's left to wonder how this proliferation directly impacts the quality of learning and teaching in the Nigerian education sector. Well, joining us this morning to discuss proliferation of private schools and the quality of learning and teaching is Engineer Sylvanus Onovo, an edupreneur and administrator. Good morning, Engineer Sylvanus. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right. From your designation, you are an edupreneur.
Yes.
Who is an edupreneur?
An edupreneur is, in a nutshell, an entrepreneur in the education sector.
Okay, so you provide
solutions to educational needs. Create value, marketable values for the educational chain. There are many things you can do to facilitate teaching and learning, impacting of knowledge to different levels of education. And it involves a whole lot. You see, an entrepreneur has some characteristics that distinguish them from ordinary administrators. So they have the vision to impact, to create value, have vision, and first of all discover there's a need in the environment where they are, in this case education. So that is what creates the need for an entrepreneur.
Okay, it's interesting to say that. Of course, there are needs everywhere, and education as a sector wouldn't be an exception.
Yes.
But what would you say is driving the rapid proliferation of private schools? Even in Engr,
everywhere in Nigeria,
there is no streets, there's no boulevard, there's no crescent that you turn to in Nigeria, there's no road where you will not be counting the number of schools. What is driving this proliferation? Is there a gap or a need in the public sector to give them that?
That you're just almost answering it.
Okay.
The first thing that created need for private school, and hence the proliferation, is inadequacy of public schools to provide the education, to satisfy the educational need of the society. And it was so enormous that private school has to come to this. There are many other points, including something like poor standard of education, overpopulation of our schools, large class size. There are some class schools you enter, you have 50 to 60 pupils or students in the classroom. In the university, you get a hall that's meant for 100, you have 500 students with a lecturer. Discover that the quality of education is not there. Then you talk about teacher remuneration, poor quality teachers, no quality training. Then we talk about academic calendar. You discover that before now, you see, at the university level, you have a strike. At the primary, secondary school level, you have teacher strike. Here and now. So you know that parents were tired of being out of school periods. Okay, so after some, but then there's another one very important that gave a real spark to the proliferation, because before now, there were private schools, and they were for affluent people, rich people.
In the 80s and 90s.
Yes, but in 1999, the government did what they call PPP, private partnership, okay, public-private partnership, and then gave kind of a leverage for private sector to participate in education. So that's when you see boom. Every other person wanted to enter into private education, and that gap was bridged. So you now get low income, low cost private schools. That low cost private school, that was what brought the explosion of and proliferation of private schools, because people can now start school no more charge anything, and then be in school.
That's the thing.
Have a kiosk, call it school, charge anything, and you are meeting the need of the very low income people that have been earning to go to private school.
All right.
So, okay.
But the question is, the proliferation, is it directly proportional to quality learning and teaching? Has it actually improved the quality of students that are churned out yearly from schools?
The truth is that the private school came to rescue. In full analysis, if you want to look at it, it came to rescue, and it is satisfactory because you know it by the demand. You know, in business, it's about demand and supply. The demand for private school till tomorrow is still very, very high among parents. What is the cause? Because they are getting what they are bargaining for in the private school. Prefer to public school. Today, their children can go to school. Academic calendar not broken. Today, the children can have high grades. Today, the children can stay in monitored classrooms, few students. And if it is becoming big, they warn you, this class is becoming large. I can't continue with this, or they move. So today, you see a lot of children can have multiple all-round educational development. Or the development of the total child. Public school, the population restricted it from giving children exactly what they want. But in this case, you have private schools that are packaged to give extracurricular activities, give holidays, give real training, give different types of aspects of education. We have to talk about reading and right. So the student, the teacher, the parents are having a feeling. They are enjoying it. So even the one we talk is mushroom or this thing, the very low income earners are satisfied with it because it gave them satisfaction that my child is now in a private school.
All right. Engineer, what I want to find out is what are some of the indicators that will point towards the fact that private schools are giving better quality education? Those indicators. It's not just that there is demand, which I understand there's high demand, which could actually come from aesthetic reasons. Let it be that my child is in a private school.
Yes,
what are the indicators that will show that ever since this paradigm happened and there's been this massive shift from public to private schools, students are turning out and they are becoming employable, better, prepared for the society? What are some of those indicators?
The indicators are there, are this high academic performance. The records are there. If you go to the media during exams, so you see private schools brandishing high scores of their candidates. It was not so before. They can now brandish 300 something in job, and they take pride in it. And the parents are aware of it. There are people that are low that may not be doing, but there are private schools that have set the pace. And you come to the university, private universities, people coming out from some private universities, they have tailored education, tailored to the specific need of the child. And they come out performing very, very well. You see, so there are so much this thing, in performance indicator that can show that people are, in fact, academic performance is different. Outside those ones I've mentioned before, that parents are getting what they desired, and but there's academic performance. Do you understand? There may be exceptions, because sometimes some parents can dump their children in a private school, certain private schools that didn't meet up to standard, and they don't care. So the children come up anyhow, but it's not peculiar to private schools. Public schools also have people that are not measuring up. Yeah. So that may be individual, but on a general note, you can see private schools making a serious impact, especially when you take it back to when there was no private schools. Yes.
Interesting that you've actually said a lot about the improvements and impact of the private schools, but they are not without their own issues.
Definitely.
For example, who regulates or who monitors the benchmarking of school fees? You find a particular school being so exorbitant that you're wondering what exactly they are giving to the children that has made. So who monitors or who regulates, who has the oversight function of overseeing what is going on in the private schools? Or do they just wake? I know, in the public school you can't just wake up and demand something from your students or from the parents. So who has oversight function over private schools in Nigeria?
At different levels. There are government regulatory agencies that regulate all the private schools, and they are doing their job. Some of them are doing their job well.
Why are some schools so expensive?
Okay,
but private schools in Enugu that are massively expensive.
No, man. One of the factors that give birth to private school is economic motivation, to make profit, to do business. Okay. So when the entrepreneur or the business person, entrepreneur enters into business, he's there to make profit. So you take out the investment the person made, and then the person is trying to make his position in school to offer value, offer quality, and still make a profit. Quite unlike public school that was just a social service to the people. Okay, so again in business, you don't regulate. If you want to regulate profit, it's going to be difficult because you have free hand to do business, and then, but in this case, the parents have choice. That's why I say that proliferation has a kind of an advantage, because it gives every strata of society their level, shows them their level. If you want high fee schools, you join high fee schools if you can afford it. If you want low cost schools, you join low cost schools, and then you know your scope, know where you belong, you fit it in. So then, personally, I don't think, based on this my explanation, I don't think government should regulate the price of schools. What they should now regulate is quality of delivery in every, so that no matter the school, no matter how small the school is, they must abide by the minimum standard of the regulatory agencies. That's what should be. That whenever they are, and anyone that is not meeting up, they guide them to meet up by employing the right teachers, making sure that they use the stipulated curriculum for that level of education, and then controlling excesses like in exploiting ignorant parents. They don't rule out exploitation at all, because some people can charge high fee and don't deliver exactly what they promised. Do you understand? That's where the regulatory agencies comes in, to make sure that if you are charging high fee, there is value for what you are charging. Not that you package a 5-star hotel, charge parents for supporting their children in 5-star hotel, and when the output comes out, they don't measure for anything. They go there, maybe enter course, go to drugs and things like that. That is not education. So these are things regulatory agencies should monitor. Is make sure that these people claim they are offering education, that is pure education they are offering. But some of them has become a status symbol. My child is going to this school. My child is going to this school, and they are paying in millions. Then it becomes obvious to you that it's not this 1, 2, 3 we are learning in school, this ABC we are learning in school. That they are learning that for which you should pay millions. There's something to eat. So government should make sure that the corruption is removed from the educational system. It should be it should be free. And it's through genuine regulatory system that can do that.
All right.
Thank you.
I want to understand the justification behind some of your statements as regards the impact of private schools, that some of the performance indicators shows that children come out with very good grades. Now, when you look at it critically, you find out that private schools have teachers who may have gone through, most of the time have gone through the teacher training courses, or they go through the school, then the attachments, they go through it, because it seems as though it's only government that can give them employment, because they wouldn't take what the private is offering. But then, on the other hand, when you get to the private school, you find out that the young secondary school leavers are employed. You know, people who are not even trained with, you know, teaching skills are employed. So what justifies the high grades that we see in private schools over and above that in public schools where we will have well-trained teachers?
I want to tell you is effectiveness and supervision. Effectiveness and supervision. When somebody is in business, the person wants to get to his objective. So you can agree that some public school have the latitude to employ qualified, well-qualified teachers, and they do. But then you employ them, you don't motivate them, you don't train them, you don't pay them as and when you discover they become so much discouraged. They are not proud of themselves. So when you discourage teachers, you just you have a good tool, but you are not using it properly. So the output will be low. Then with this one, you come to private school, they employ as much as they go. However, you need to know that there are some private schools that employ high quality teachers. In the universities, they employ high quality lecturers, well trained. So in the secondary school, you employ good and quality teachers. At the grand they may employ somebody that didn't do education, for instance. Okay? Now, but that is where comes business. The administration supervises, trains, make sure that they are doing that little one they can do, and they're on their toes. They don't wake up in the morning and they don't go to school. Everybody's on his toes working. You see, they are being more productive, because that is business. You are doing your business for profit, and the teacher knows it. You see, then you will come to think of those school leavers in school, or maybe let me not use school leaver, because unless except in kindergarten where you may employ them, it's not advisable, and the military is one against that. But then let me say, for instance, a graduate walks into your private school without educational qualification, but is a graduate. Okay? Now, we have discovered that when you employ them, they do very well when you train them. You coach them, train them, they are doing very well. Reality. You know why? Before you even start doing education, there have been natural selection of high capacity, intelligent human beings into the university. Because people despise teaching. Children will tell you what to be a teacher. Nobody wants to be a teacher. Do you understand? Nobody wants to be a teacher. Then, at that time, they are selecting that even intelligent children have joined other professions. For some of them have natural calling to be a teacher. Then, when situation take them back to school by force, by the forces of the environment in which you operate in, then if you get away with them and give them training, it's because they are high performance. Sometimes they go from there to PGD, do extra another training to qualify as teacher. I tell you from experience that some of them do well, because the other one that went and BSc has all the person who wanted to read he has not passed them. They are not so much qualified. So they now settle on NCE. Some other educational degree. So by that now, if you get somebody that is doing maybe science and tech without education, they come to school just training for, they do well. They start doing well. I'm not saying we should employ unqualified teachers, or we should avoid educational professional private, but I'm trying to tell you that despite the inability of private educations, especially at the low cost level, to employ highly qualified teachers, that the ones they have are effective based on administrative competence and supervision. You ask me, does public school not have supervision? They have. But they are not as somebody that is doing his business. Yes.
All right. Given your expertise and your experience, what would you say is the future of public schools in Nigeria? Maybe in the next 10, 20 years?
Public school? Public school need to be helped. Public school need to be helped. Government need to invest in public schools. Very, very important.
In what ways should government invest in public schools? Because there are so many ways, there are so many aspects to it.
Just like what we are discussing, they need to get public schools, teachers and administrators accountable. These days, they face private schools and leave their public school, giving them attention, supervising them properly. They face private school. Why? Because the practitioners want, maybe they are looking for money. The income they generate from private schools give them more attraction. So they face private school and supervise them before they say they are coming to private school, and every society is rejoicing they are coming to private school. And then they leave the main thing. They need to face public school, improve infrastructure. There's paucity of infrastructure in public schools, too many. There's no teaching and learning facilities are not there. Some teachers don't have seats. As we are sitting down now, some teachers in public don't have table, don't have seat to sit. They don't have enough teachers in public schools. Many public schools all over the country, infrastructure is poor, and maybe the government may not be blamed totally, though it is their responsibility. But the population of Nigeria is too much. We grow in population. You come to public school, the number will be, and it will be as if I've told you that up to 60, 50 can be in a class. So there are many population, and tomorrow population is still growing, still blowing out. So public school can be overwhelmed. And then you come and say it is free. Now when you say it's free, everything is free, everybody comes there for free, and then you discover that the free is not enough.
How so? Can you expand on that?
That is why, even though you are saying you have free education, parents are still going to private school. They still go to one-room school.
And leave your free
infrastructure, free school. Because when you come to the free school, if the population is much, there's not enough book for the child, there's not enough by free, it means they should not buy anything. They don't come with school with books. They don't come with book with textbooks, no size book. Some don't come with pencil and pen. Their parents say, okay, just leave house and go to free school, and you come, it's not there. And it's difficult for it to be there. Because the financing of schools is too expensive, it's very expensive. And government is not a good business person. Government cannot manage business. Education is a serious business. So if government should insist on running public schools and managing it, along the line, it will fail. And they will not just it will fail, but it will not compare to private enterprise. Private enterprise generates the economy. If you see the massive business going on in the society today, in the marketplace, because of private school, my God, it's enormous. Employment generated is much. So government alone cannot do it. Government alone cannot employ all the teachers employed by private school. Government alone cannot put enough money that's required in the school system. So they should revive public school, make it available for the people that can do it, which are many. But I will advocate that the private school should be nurtured to have roots and strength to do their responsibility.
No, you said government is not a good business person, not a good business manager.
Yes.
You would recall that when school systems or when schooling or education was introduced in Nigeria, it was introduced via the missionaries.
Missionaries.
Do you think we should go back to the basics and hand public schools back to the churches? What are your thoughts?
They are doing it already.
So what has been the outcome so far?
They are doing it already. I told you, if you build a school today and it's quality in Nigeria, almost everywhere in Nigeria, people will feel it. Because the population are there. It's difficult to get a school. We have not reached our climax in investing.
But in terms of the missionaries, the churches.
The missionaries are already, when we're talking about private schools now, we are including the missionary schools. Okay, we talk about the missionary schools.
I'm saying, sorry to cut you short, but so you understand where I'm going.
Okay.
I'm saying the way government schools, there are schools that are handled by government, the free schools.
Okay.
Is there a possibility of handing those schools over
It's
to
a welcome
the
development.
How do you think that will help and improve the quality of learning and teaching?
It's a welcome development. Well, what I'm saying is that they're already doing it, and yet it's not enough. There will still be need for private enterprise to be there. However, let me come into your question proper. This missionary school, they are doing well. Some of the great schools from the university level to secondary level to primary school are missionary schools. They are trained for it, and they add the moral aspect of it. They add the moral aspect of it to education. They are doing this. They are doing well. Most good schools anywhere in Nigeria are missionary schools. They have the wherewithal, the moral wherewithal to do
to uphold education.
Yes.
All right. Now, you did mention PPP, public-private partnership,
yes.
but it seems as though what we have is not PPP in its entirety. It's just giving license to private individuals to own schools.
Yes.
Now, is there a possibility where private individuals can come and run a public school, in partnership with the government? Is there any way it has happened before? Do you think it's something that is worth pursuing? What are your thoughts on that?
Listen, in place. It's possible. In the first place, some of the mission schools handed over to the government. Some of the mission schools that were handed over to the missionary owners. The government parley it in some states with the missionary churches, with the missionary, so that they supply teachers. Even as we are talking, some states are doing that. You supply teachers to the schools, and the missions still manage it as a school. Any state, for instance, is doing it. I know some of the missionary schools hand over to their owners. They still give them support with the public school teachers, which they are paid by themselves.
Interesting.
And it's producing a good result. Yes, that's the way it can happen. Then for I'm looking the other one in the future. Because if you have a good investment in education, and you discover that you cannot manage it well with the public administration, the only option that will be left is that PPP. For instance, massive the governor of Enugu is doing massive investment.
260 smart schools.
Smart schools in every ward in the state. Now, for such a massive investment, I will suggest, but we don't say a policy cannot work until it's implemented. But if such things, instead of it failing, after such massive investment, you do PPP there and make sure that it succeeds, because it has to succeed, because the investment is enormous.
All right.
That's my thinking.
Before we let you go, there's this population of pupils, learners that are often, sidelined. That's special education. Children with special needs.
Yes.
How has education accommodated, our educational system accommodated children with autism, delayed milestone, and other impediments?
Yes. It's a very huge area, and I think the missionary schools have capacity. They have capacity to do a lot in that, because of that moral this and the humanitarian services, they're usually attached to them.
But with the smart schools, can the framework or the blueprint of the smart schools, can special education, given the fact that the standard now is inclusive education, yes, so can't it be put into the blueprint of the smart schools, the infrastructure of the smart schools, and see how special teachers can be trained and put in the smart schools? Because if you leave it for missionaries, they can't. I don't think they can cope with the enormity of the work.
It's possible. So it's a good one. It's a good one. Even this smartness and maybe this tech supports
Yes.
We will give more support and leverage to disabled individuals, sort of such people. I think it's a good idea for this, like in this case, smart schools. So I'm believing that because that's a comprehensive system they are coming up with. I'm believing they must have taken care of those people with special needs.
All right.
I'm believing they should have. Okay.
All right, Engineer. Any parting words before we let you go, because we have run out of time?
Well, the parting words I will have is to appeal to our government system to assist private schools are struggling. Some of them are located in areas where there are serious shortfalls in education facilities. In schools, some are in the rural areas. There are some people that are so totally disadvantaged if there are no private schools. And most of such ones are low-cost schools. They need funding, they need assistance. I will also advocate that instead of increasing maybe taxation, multiple taxation on schools, they should be given leverage. They are doing a whole work for the society, for the system, for the government. He said it was the role of government to offer education to his citizens. And you see an entrepreneur investing so much in education. What the person really needs is support, guidance. These regulatory agencies shouldn't be pursuing them properly, but guiding them. You have not gotten this one correctly. Do it this way. That is what it should be. Then multiple taxation. Government agencies doesn't. In fact, what they do is that when you open a school, it appears you have opened
an office,
maybe an oil company, where every government agency must come to collect their own toll. You are if like in Engr, you have Swama will come there, the local government will come, state government will come, you know, different persons plus staffs that were not sent. Immediately your door opened, they start coming in their numbers. Some claim they are from Federal Revenue Service, some claim they are from insurance, so many things. They will be coming. You see? So
there's a problem that needs legislation.
They need to protect private schools. They need to private. They are doing a good job. And the threat of closure, if any slight, will close private school. And when they say close, many people will think they are doing. It's a good statement. It's not a good statement. You come and close private school. If a private school is not getting it, you come and guide the school to do well, not to close. Because somebody's investment, somebody's work. If you see the number of people employed and dependent of the employer, and oh my God, and the business line that private schools are supporting, school uniform, school bags, school printing of papers, exercise books, textbooks. Oh my, it's too many. So, and then whenever somebody wants to demonstrate, say, I'll close private. You don't close private schools. Not a good thing for our economy. All right. You encourage private schools to do well.
Thank you so much, Engineer Sylvanus Onovo, and his take on proliferation of private schools and the quality of learning and teaching. I know you got a thing or two from this very wonderful and robust discussion. Don't go anywhere. Your day continues right after this break.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.